Hello everybody, I'm just going to wait for a bit and see who pops up. Hello, good evening. Glad you can join us. I'm just going to start by lighting some candles, which I always do. I'm actually going to start, usually I light a candle for myself first of all. Hi Helen, hi. Thanks for joining me, or us. Yeah, I'd like to do light some candles first, which I always do. Normally I light for me first, and actually I think I will because yeah, I think I should. Self-love, yeah, absolutely. Okay, very important. I'm going to light this candle first. This is for community. Or light this one second, sorry. This is community. I had an experience yesterday. I went to into a coffee shop, and there was a missing people poster up on the wall. Missing People were the charity who I did the Christmas Carol concert this time last year. It's coming up to it. I wrote a letter to Christian and read it out at their carol service. Anyway, this poster was on the wall, and I noticed it and I looked at it, and it was a young boy. While we were having our coffee, the barista came and took the poster off the wall, and I asked him why he'd done that, and he said that this boy was no longer missing, and for the family it wasn't good news, and I just realised at that point that Christian and I are obviously in contact, and we've healed and are working together now. But I realised that we're in a unique position, I think, in that there are many, many families, and there'll be people watching this evening who don't yet have that connection with a lost loved one. And I just needed to be reminded of that fact, and to be mindful during these videos. It's difficult for me, or for us in this position now where we are, to put ourselves back to where we were 18 months ago. It's not a nice place to put ourselves back into, having a missing loved one, and to have to have lost someone as well. So this candle is for anybody who is going through loss at the moment, finding a way through grief, anybody who needs a light in their life, a little guiding light to maybe help them through. I hope this space is a safe space for people to feel that they can talk about their grief, and to know that myself and Christian are here to be a loving presence and to try and help. I mean, what we'd really like to do is to pass on our messages and our experiences, so that we can help anybody who's in a situation of loss and grief. We spent 15 years, really the whole trauma for us was played out, and yeah, we'd really like to not have wasted those 15 years. It seems to us that if we can help others, then this whole trauma's been, I wouldn't say worth it, but you know, there's a purpose for it, and it's not a wasted experience. And we've got lots of it's like light and love to give to people. If I'd said that 18 months ago, I'd have thought, oh my God, you've gone mad. But times change, and certainly I've changed. Christian's changed. We've all changed. We've all transformed. So I hope we can. Yeah, that's the purpose of this, is to help other people through this now. So if you are needing this light, this is for you, and you're most welcome to it. I better light the last candle. If you've just joined us, hi everybody. I lit a candle for myself first of all, because self-love is very important, and if you don't love yourself, then it's difficult to love other people. Well, to receive and to give love to other people. Second light was for anybody else who's joined, who's going through grief or loss at the moment. And anybody else actually who's here. It's a community light. And this one is for spirit, so the blue one. This is for the purposes of this evening. This is for Christian. I'm not expecting anybody else to join in, but they might do. They might do. To be honest, I have no idea what's about to happen. I got a little bit of guidance, but not very much, so we'll see where we go. So, I think the purpose of, I don't know if people read the previous post I put up about what happened at the weekend. It became extremely clear to me that Christian is very much not dictating. No, he's not. He's guiding. He's guiding the work that we're going to be doing. He's guiding me to come out of my shell and come out and stand. I feel like I'm on the top of a cliff edge at the moment, a little bit. I don't feel nervous talking to you this evening. I don't feel any fear. As I said in the last video, I have a wholeness in my stomach now. It's like a calmness and a contentment, and I don't have any fear about now standing up and talking about this, because obviously it's if you'd asked me even months ago whether I was going to be doing this, the answer would have been no. But anyway, this weekend there was a definite Christian showed me in a very public space, in a very public way, that he's very much around, and he is wanting us to now team up, like as a partnership, to come out and talk about our experiences. Obviously, I'm the one that you see, so I've been given lots of pushes to come out and to explain, I think, to people what's happened, to explain how Christian and I now communicate, how we now interact, and to explain the purpose of what we're going to be doing from now on. I had over the weekend, it's became very clear that working with Christian to heal and transform grief in the world, that's rather a big statement, isn't it? Rather a bold statement. But that's the purpose of what we're now going to be doing. And it seems to me clear that, 15 years worth of of experiences are now going to be distilled into words that will heal and transform people's grief. This will be a series of lives, which I'll do. First one's just going to be basically introducing Christian and I. I probably should have said at the beginning that my name's Hannah Velton. I expect there'll be people who will join us at some point through the evening, and they won't have a clue who I am. They won't have a clue who Christian is, and what is this weird relationship that we have now. So I better start off with myself, seeing as I'm here now in front of you. So my name's Hannah. I don't know why it's important to tell you my age, but I'm 44. In May I was 44, and I think that's been an amazing year for me. Not only have I finally found out what's happened to Christian after 15 years, but yeah, I've realised what I can do. I've realised where I'm going now in the future, and yeah, I've found peace. And I'm myself. So it's been an amazing year, like a year of foundations being made, being put down. I'm a writer, and I have been writing professionally since 2000, so 18 years. Started off in reporting, magazine reporting, freelance journalism, moved most recently into... and then I wrote 3 non-fiction books, all based in the history of animal relationships with humans. The most recent one being a book about animals in London, the history of animals in London. And I'm just working as a historical consultant at the moment for the Museum of London, or actually the Guildhall of Music and Drama, who are doing the installation for the Museum of London for an animal exhibition. So that's all quite exciting at the moment. I also, since 2011, have been ghostwriting memoirs. I have to say something here about memoirs, because when I started ghostwriting memoirs, it was all to do with Christian. He was the inspiration for it. We recorded Dad's history by interviews, and then turned it into a book with photographs. I did this with my husband. He's a designer. Yeah, the inspiration was Christian, because at that point he'd been missing for 8 years, and it had got to the point where we were starting to forget things about Christian. Or it wasn't forgetting things, it was... We'd got to a space where, because he was missing and we had, at that point, no news, we just didn't know what was going on. We still knew nothing. There was just no news. So no news is good news in that situation. So we had no news. We had limbo still. And at some point it became very important to me to get all of his story. You know, we knew him as Christian. I knew him as Christian. We called him Christian in the family. But I became very aware that, oh my God, I didn't know that much about him. We had, you know, he had loads of friends from school, from uni, all his travelling, and a lot of it we didn't know anything about, really. I should explain, Christian and I, we grew up on a farm in Sussex, and it was quite isolated there. So Christian and I were always playmates, best buddies fought a lot, but that's brother and sister, I guess. Yeah, we were very close. Very close. We were only 14 months apart in age. And we always used to get mistaken as twins because I was I was quite a slight girl and he was quite a chubby boy. So looking at us, it was we were more or less twins. And you know, looking back now, we were very alike. And Christian, well, he'll I'm sure butt in at some point, but we were he's saying now. He didn't realise how alike we were until he'd passed over. Oh, does it, Helen? Oh God, I hope people aren't being interrupted. I can only just carry on and hope things. It doesn't say it's being interrupted, but or maybe he's around. That's why it's happening. Anyway, I was just, what was I saying? Oh yes, he was saying when once he'd passed, he realised how alike we were, how similar we were, and I think when we were, I feel it's just you. We were very close as kids. Then, aged 7, he went to. It's fine, Helen. He went to a different school. We'd always been at school together. We'd always shared all our time together. And then age 7, he went to a different school. He got put into the private education. So he went to prep school, and that's when our relationship started to stretch, is all I can say, really. That bond was still there, but it was a little bit stretched out. And then he started weekly boarding after, I don't even know how long it was, a year or something like that. And when you've suddenly had, it's going to make me cry. When you've suddenly had I think this is when I actually experienced loss for the first time with regards to Christian, in that he was no longer physically there all the time, and he used to come back at weekends, but he changed, you know, he smelt different. He had different hairstyle. I mean, yeah, he was not, that sort of breaking apart of a relationship was just stretched and stretched and stretched. And there's not much more I can really say at the moment. As we do more lives, I'll say more about how he was feeling as well. But yeah, and then he started full boarding. So I kind of really lost touch with him. And it was a grief. Definitely a grief. I got into ponies instead. And it was I look back now and it was definitely a grief of losing him then. The one left behind. And, we've talked about it before in the family, and it was just the done thing. That's what boys did. That was just the done thing. Dad had done it. His father before had done it. His mother had done it. It was just one of those things. And that's the reason why my kids aren't doing that. But again, so a slow, gradual breaking of our close bond. I mean, it was so close. It's as close now as we had in childhood, the bond. Definitely. But during the intervening years of school, university, travel, we kept missing each other for years. You know, I'd go to Australia, I'd come back, he'd go to Australia, I'd go to uni, he'd go to uni, we'd all be missing each other. But yeah, and our relationship, there was a lot of I found out now there was a lot of mistrust on my part, because he'd me as age 9 had taken it on board that he'd just left and he'd deserted me and he'd left me, and I didn't trust him, not consciously but subconsciously, unconsciously, I didn't trust him. And this was a major blockage in our relationship that I didn't realise. And it meant that in fact, we both did, because I would react. Yeah, he's saying we both did. We weren't physically together, plus we had this sort of barrier between us. There was a love between us, but it was like a full of gunk, not a clear love, not an unconditional love, which we have now. I don't know. I mean, every relationship, there's some gunk there built up through experiences and okay, I don't need to go into too much at the moment on that, but just to say that there wasn't a clear channel of unconditional love between us, which I think is pretty common for most people, most relationships. There's always something. Okay, I think that's enough about me for the moment. When I'm just going to go with what's coming, so if you bear with me. So Christian. Yeah, I'm going to introduce you now. He's saying, what you're going to say about me, he's waiting to hear. Oh, well. Yeah, I was looking, when Christian went missing and I started doing this, the ghostwriting, I thought it might be a good idea to get his friends to write to me and tell me of any stories about Christian that they wanted to share. Yeah, the word cloud. Yeah, so I got so many beautiful responses back. If you ever met Christian, I don't know how many. The thing is, people who know me now never met Christian. There's only school friends. Some of my school friends I can see once. One of them was here a minute ago. Some of my school friends will remember Christian as my younger brother. But yes, we had a lot of people, friends, write about him and tell me he was quite a rascal, to put it mildly. Yeah, he was always a free spirit. And I kind of knew what he got up to in many ways. I don't think... yeah, he was always quite a free spirit, always full of fun. He was mischievous, cheeky, always full of fun. And if you were to do... He keeps saying word cloud. If you did a word cloud, one of those things about all the messages that I got from people. If you did a word cloud of the biggest, or the most used words, it would be fun, smiling, strong. He was very strong, which he is being now, and which is why I'm not being pushed, but I am being pushed. I'm being encouraged to come out. And actually we are very similar. So this is me as a child. I was like this. And over the years I've tried to hide, I think. Anyway, so he's very strong, kind, very kind, very good with children, with younger people. In fact, somebody who he lived with in Brighton before he left for Africa. He was living in their house, and there was a younger girl, and she got in touch with me very recently and said how much Christian was a brilliant role model for her. Very strong, very positive. Yeah, I know. Yeah, he was a good role model for people who were younger than him. Oh, I've got a poor neck. Oh, there we go. I'm back again. Yeah, so Christian, all these things in life, and he'll say now. I mean, he won't. Yeah, he wants me to say it. He was almost uncomfortable in physical life. There was too much in his head all the time, he's saying. He was always trying to make sense of life. And he didn't always do a great job of it, he's saying. But he's made sense of it now, which is why he can pass it on to me, and he can pass it on to whoever's going to be ready to listen. That's really important, he's saying. You'll hear what you need to hear through the course of these lives. Something will touch you, something will spark something in you. Some of what we're going to be saying is you won't resonate at all with, but some things you'll just suddenly click, some little light bulb will go off, and I just trust and know that you'll get what you need from these lives that we do. Sorry, excuse me, he's saying. I should explain here. Somebody asked me, in fact, most people ask me this question, how do we communicate? So this is a good example. I hear his voice, and usually I write it down. It's called guided writing. And when we first made contact, that was how when we first made proper contact, i.e. knowing knowing he died, that's how we started to communicate, was through guided writing. So yeah, I hear his voice. It's the same, it's his voice, it's his tone, he says, yeah, we have the same kind of banter. It's him. It's like being on a telephone. That's what he's saying. It's like being on the telephone, and I just write it down what I hear. But I can also I'm learning now that I can also just speak what I hear. I didn't trust it at first. Oh my God, didn't trust this. What is this voice that I'm hearing? It sounded like him, but oh God, it could have been anybody, pretending to be him, and all those thoughts. It was frightening, to be honest. But time and time again, I've been proved that it's definitely him, and yeah, I have complete conviction now that it's him that I'm talking to. Before we did communication like this, back in 2015, June 2015, I started to get a heat in my back, and it was like and it was always up here. I'm in our bedroom at the moment, but in our ensuite and in front of the mirror, and I would always get a heat in the back of just in the middle of my back, and I thought, oh my God, there must be something going on here. Be some warmth coming from somewhere. I couldn't really I couldn't explain it at all. But anyway, that was the first, looking back now, that was the first sign that Christian was, he was around, he was wanting to talk, or something was wanting me to start communicating. That progressed onto like a feeling, like a presence. I can't explain it really. It's just like, you know, when you suddenly think somebody's behind you, and you it's just like a warmth, like a presence, like somebody standing really close to you. I had it a few days ago when I was in London. It was like somebody, he came behind me and just sort of protected me. I was on the tube, and it's just like a presence. It's like a protection. Very comforting. It's always a warmth. It's always, it's lovely. I don't know if anybody out there has also experienced that kind of thing. But if you have, this is what it turned out to be for me. So, and then I don't know. Gradually, our because I hadn't had any contact with him for years. No contact with him at all. I'd actually shut down. He went missing in March, April 2003. And we had a couple of years of just horrific searches. No news. I mean, he had friends went out. We had police go out. We had searches. We had witch doctors. We had everything. Anything that we could try to find him in Mali. And after a couple of years, I actually switched off from the search because it just was draining and harrowing, and I had to protect myself, I guess. I think you can probably just about everyone's different. Everybody's different. Of course they are. But I found that getting on with, I got married, had children, moved to Cornwall. No, that was not married with children. I moved to Cornwall. Started a new job. We had I had a business down there, and life was very far removed from. I don't know if anyone's lived in Cornwall before, but I know somebody watching is there at the moment. But you do feel like you're in a different country. London and home and the HQ of finding Christian was a very far away when you're in Cornwall. So effectively, I was able to cut myself off from it. And a lot of Christian's friends, thank God for them, stepped in and helped Mum and Dad, and did a lot of the communications. We didn't have social media back then, so that there was none of this Twitter and Facebook and things. So it was all done on email and fax. Mum and Dad had to buy a fax machine, for God's sake. So it was quite easy to switch off from being in Cornwall, or switch off from the whole thing with Christians. So I got on with life after a few years. And then, it wasn't until 2015 that I started to get this warmth in my back. And it was like, that was the first time it became clear that something was happening, that Christian was coming back. I didn't know at the time it was Christian, but there was something spirit happening. I'd actually just started doing a memoir with a lady who was, that's as important, who was into, her mother had died, and she was definitely communicating with her through a medium, actually. And I remember going to her house. The first time I met her, I was absolutely terrified. And that's the thing I had. And I had a dream last night about... it doesn't actually really matter what it was about, but it was a reminder to me that what I'm talking about now is very normal to me. Very normal now. But 3 years ago, it was absolutely terrifying. The thought that somebody was actually speaking to a spirit. So yeah, times have changed. But I can understand completely people's reactions. When I first opened up about what had happened to Christian and how we were now communicating, there were a lot of people that left this. Well, I say a lot. I mean, not that many, but it's probably about 60 people left the community. Just in a, oh my, I just couldn't cope with that idea, or thinking I'd gone mad, probably some of that. And it's a completely different way of looking at life, and being open to something else that you can't see, that's subtle, that's always around, but unless you're open to it, you are not aware of it, or you don't want to be aware of it. Maybe that's it. But yeah, it was, so a bit of an aside, but yes, I understand if anyone's is it scared? Yes, it was. I was really terrified. I thought, oh my God, any minute now some apparition is going to come out from behind a door, or yeah, terrifying being in that house. But of course nothing happened. But after gradually I'd been opened up into this to being aware of other people's beliefs, I guess, and what other people believed in. It was a very gradual, gentle process, the way I was opened up to all of this. I wasn't suddenly confronted by anything, actually. It was all very gentle. It's like, yeah, like warmth in my back, tingling fingers, tingling feet, tingling teeth, just bodily sensations, really, senses. And I still never see, and in fact I have actually, I've always said I don't want to see anything, because that would freak me out, I'm sure. It might happen late, it might happen in time, but I'm not ready. Not ready. And you can say that to spirit. You can say, that's just not what I want. I don't want that. I don't mind, I don't mind anything else, but yeah, seeing is not what I can't cope with that now. Anyway, so Christian started off as this warmth, and then he would, I would dream. I dream about him a lot. And then I haven't got my journals. My journals are all in that box, which I'll show you another time. But yeah, I started to have dreams. They were more than dreams. I was awake. It was like a lucid dreaming. So I wasn't asleep and I wasn't awake. You know, that sort of half awake. And I would go and visit him. I'd kind of lift off the bed, go up into the air, fly along, and then land. And I didn't know what was happening at first. I had no idea. I've suddenly got very hot. Didn't know what was happening. But I would meet him. He'd be there. The first time I met him, yeah, he was ill, and I was lying down with him. In this sort of tent, and there was a lady tending to him, and I wasn't allowed to see where he was. I wasn't allowed to see anything about him, but I just held him, and we cried together, and that was the first time we met, I guess, in spirit. At the time, I always believed that he was still alive and he was always coming back to me, or back to us. He was always going to come back to us. So at that point, yeah, it was just he was obviously in spirit. He didn't know he died. I didn't know he died. And this was just the gentle way that we were reintroduced. My voice, I've gone warm and my voice is changing, so that's quite a normal thing. You'll have to bear with me. Yeah, so it was a very gentle way that we were reintroduced to each other. And I must have met him 5 times probably. I'll have to look back. But yeah, so each time we met, looking now, we were kind of meeting in the middle. He says he remembers it as well, like it was yesterday. I haven't actually asked him if he was aware of all that. So yeah, there's things that we've been busy writing this ebook, and busy talking about what actually happened to him at the end, and we've been busy talking about this journey that he wants me to do, and I want to do as well. Actually, there's lots of reasons for wanting to do it. But yeah, there's a lot, and we've talked about what happens in spirit and what he's doing, what he's up to. But there's lots of things that we haven't actually talked about. The time when he was dead, but he didn't know he was. So that's something we've obviously got to talk about. But the voices, yes, we will do that. We'll probably talk about that. I guess we'll do one of those live, actually. We'll see how that goes. I think when my voice goes like this, he's very, very close. It's like he talks, his voice comes into mine somehow. That's something we will practice, I think. But anyway, yeah, that's something we'll progress maybe as time goes on. But yeah, there's a definite purpose. There's a definite coming together now. I mean, we've been together for quite a long time, talking and interacting, probably 2 years now, but we never knew that he was dead. He was always wanting to come back. He was always saying, I'm coming home. Always saying, I'm coming home. That voice is really, yeah, he's saying he was always wanting to come home. He's definitely hearing my voice. And these tears are his. He's just saying he'd much prefer to be here in the physical. With us all. But it wasn't the way it was going to be this life. He wants to share life still with us all. And to do that, people need to open to him, like I have. He visits a lot of people. And he tries to help people, which I've seen. He wants to be part of people's lives still. And he says that's the same for anybody who's passed over. They all still want to be part of people's lives here. And that's going to be the purpose of our work going forward. says there's so many people around me who want to talk to me, to pass on messages. But people need to be open to receiving those messages. And he's saying that we can show them how to be open, so that you don't need me, as in me, spirit messenger, mediums. You don't need them. You can speak directly to your loved ones in spirit, and we show you how. Hannah, it's like, yeah, Hannah knows how to do it, and you listen to her. He's saying, listen to her, because we'll be able to teach you how to be open to receiving messages from spirit, from your loved ones. It's like they're queuing up to talk to you. I don't know whether that's to me or to you who's watching. I don't know who's watching, so whether that message has landed, I'm sure it has, where it should have landed. But yes, there's going to be lots of teaching that we can do to show people that it's not a frightening thing, that it's a normal thing, that it's something that's natural, it's something that's always been done. If you look at, he's saying, if you look at, so I needed some tea. If you look at Native Americans, ancient civilizations, indigenous tribes, he's saying they all know how to do this. It's part of their lives. The ancestors are part of their lives. It's not something to be scared of. Spirit can provide, I'm just talking what he's saying. Spirit can provide guidance. Spirit can provide loving embraces. It doesn't matter how old the person is in spirit, young or old, they're always available to you. They're always around you. You just have to open that communication. And Hannah knows how. Hannah's done it. Hannah's been guided. She's amazing. She's brave. She's strong. She's going to show you all how to do this. I love my sister. Oh, she's amazing, but I won't keep going on about it because she'll get a big head. Thanks. Okay, so I guess that's the purpose of all of this, and this is how we'll do it. He's gonna. We haven't done that before, so he'll come through me through the voice. So there's going to be no more writing. Doing the speaking, is that right? Yeah, it's all going to be done through my voice, and it's not scary for people. Scary is not the right word. It's not uncomfortable for people to watch. Okay. He's saying, did anybody have any questions? Yeah, so actually people did want to know. So it's how we communicate. So that is, I can see comments, by the way. So if anyone's sitting there, I can't see who's on, but if anyone's sitting there wanting to ask a question, if you've got a dying to ask a question, please do ask. I won't say a name. I won't say your name. I'll just ask the question. So if anybody does want to know something, not specific about somebody in their lives, but just about Christian and I guess, for this particular live. So yeah, so how we communicate has always been through pardon me. No, don't make me do that. It's always been through so lucid dreaming, and then the writing, guided writing, and now the speaking, it would appear. Something else. Somebody else asked, is he around all the time? So the short answer to that is no. The longer answer is that if I want to shut down, I do. This channel that we have open to us, which we will talk about more in another live, it's not for now, but this channel can be closed. I don't go around all day with it open, otherwise it would just be forever. It would be always I'd always be on, which would be horrible. I'd never get any peace. When the channel is open, lots of people, I actually was it the other night I had I was just going to sleep, and I always see faces like in a movie, like they go really quickly past lots of different faces, and I'd just done a message for somebody, and there was just Christian's just said it, there's so many people around at the moment wanting to come through, and there's like so many faces, young and old at the moment, but I have to shut that channel. I have to shut it down. We went for a walk today, my husband and I, where we used to live actually, or where Christian and I used to live. We got lost in the bloody woods as well. Yeah. Which we shouldn't have done. Not at all, we shouldn't have done. We were all around Bateman's, around the National Trust area, and we shouldn't have got lost, but we did. Stupid. But anyway, I know why that was. But anyway, so I had a break today. I've had a really full-on 2 weeks. Usually I have 2 weeks where it's reasonably busy, and then I have 2 weeks where it's reasonably quiet. In life, there's this like natural cycle, which I never really identified before. But there's definitely a natural quickening of pace in life, and then a slowing in life. You can't be doing and busy all the time. Well, you can be, but that's when you get ill. You have to give yourself rest. You have to give yourself breaks. Anyway, so today I had a day off with my husband, walking the dog and having lunch out. So that was my way of switching off for the day, and then obviously open up this evening, and then you close it down. When Christian first found out that he died, that sounds very strange, doesn't it? He did, after he'd told me what had happened, we did guided writing, and he told me exactly what had happened to him, and then he did disappear for a while. So Christian comes and goes. At the moment, he's very, very much here, and very much in my face, kind of thing, showing me he's here. Lots of things happening, synchronicities. If you read the post about last weekend with Rebecca Campbell at the workshop, he was really showing me that he's around and he's influencing things big time. I can't really explain it at the moment, but that'll be, I guess, one of the questions we'll ask him in these live sessions, and we'll get some answers. But anyway, yes, he, as far as I know, what he's told me, he goes away. He's already been with the animals, so he goes off on like a safari, I guess. But he sees all these animals, any animal he wants to see, he sees them, but there's no cages, there's nothing in between him and the animals. again, we haven't talked about it hugely, but that's just the way he explained it. It's like a freedom. He's got complete freedom. He can do whatever he wants and go wherever he wants, which is, to be fair, what he was like in the physical. So he's having an absolute ball in terms of, he's on cloud 9, he says. Yeah, he's, you know, anything, he says it's perfect. You can make life of, you can, it's like you do what you want. But we'll talk about that more later on. But he does go off and do his own thing. And I do my own thing here with other spirits. I have a lot of guides and a lot of helpers, and everybody does. But again, you just need to be open to them. You need to ask for help, and you get help. And yeah, that'll be another. We will talk about all these other things later in other lives that we do, any other videos. But yes, he comes and goes. And I'll find out what he does, or we'll all find out as we go along what else he does in his spare time. I'm not sure there's anything else that I have to particularly introduce you to at the moment. I just wanted to introduce ourselves, and I wanted to introduce you to what these videos are going to be all about. So it appears that Christian's going to speak through me. That's how it's going to happen from now on. So we kind of, I'll obviously have a lot of things that I can teach from being in the physical side, about coping or healing and transforming, growing after loss. A lot of that information is in the ebook, which nearly 100 of you have downloaded so far. So please keep downloading it. It's going to be free for another week or so. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, please do. It's there's a link in the pinned post at the top of the page. But yeah, so from my point of view, that's how a lot of that information is there. In there is how I have healed and grown from loss. Obviously, I can give you all that information as we go along. Christian will be able to provide the spirit perspective. Obviously, he knows. It's like we all know this stuff, but when we come into this physical life, but we forget it all. And it's only when people remind you, spirit reminds you, or somebody who is open to it, who's remembering, like myself, it's only when somebody tells you something and you go, oh my God, yes, I recognise that, so that makes sense somehow. I don't know how, but it makes sense, and you start to remember. So we can all do this. We can all open up to it's like intuition, using your intuition. It's something that can be taught or remembered. I can just help you remember. We all have it. We're all aware, able to do this. You don't need mediums. You don't need fortune tellers. You don't need, spirit messengers like myself. You can actually do it. You might need a prod in the right direction from somebody like myself, which is the work that I do at the moment. A lot of it is just prodding people in the right direction, and then empowering people to be able to do the work on themselves, so that they don't need me. That's a really big part and a very important part of moving forward. What Christian and I are going to do. It's all about empowering people. It's all about unconditional love, showing. As I said really early on, there's a lot of sort of gunk between Christian and I. We loved each other, but there was a lot of gunk, a lot of past experiences, and to have a really clear channel between spirit and the physical, you need for it to be really clear, it needs to be unconditional. So there's a lot. So you do have to do work. You do have to work at releasing stuff, understanding, forgiveness. I think if it was really easy, then everybody would be doing this. But because it's quite hard, or it is hard. It is a roller coaster. But for me, Christian was a big enough carrot, as it were, to actually push myself into doing the work on myself, and to break down basically, and then build yourself up. And it's quite a brave thing to do, and I think that's why we'll maybe discuss this more later on. But I think Christian's very aware that there's a lot of fear around opening up to spirit, and I was certainly very fearful at first, very fearful. But it's a process. You'll never be asked to do something. You'll never be asked to do something that you're not happy to do or open to doing. You won't be asked to do stuff at the wrong time. It's always at the right time, and you'll always be given truths and at the right time for you as well, when you're ready to hear them, when you're ready to do something with them. But again, that's all part of other lives that we'll do. But yeah, I suppose this introduction was just to introduce Christian to you, to tell you a bit more about myself, and yeah, the purpose of where we're going with all of this. And it does seem to be to connect the physical, us in the physical, to spirit, for guidance, for love, empowerment, all of that. So it's all positive, it's all joyful, it's all loving. There's nothing negative here. There won't be anything negative in this space. The only negative in spirit is people's fear of it. But again, we'll talk about that at another time. I haven't got a clue what the time is. I suspect it's pretty rambled on. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. There you go. Done an hour. That seems to be about done for this session. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. I hope you got something out of it, even if it's just interesting what's been going on. And if you've got any questions that you're dying to ask, you can private message me. Please do, because it's always nice having questions to ask. And I will post up soon what the next topic will be. I think if we try and keep to a Thursday 9 o'clock, hopefully people will get used to that time and be able to join us. But yes, I will post what the next topic will be. We'll see. But anyway, do download the ebook if you haven't already, because yeah, as I said, there is a limit on when it's going to be free, and I guess I'm being pushed to tell you it's going to be quite soon. So but the book will actually help as we do more lives. You'll understand a bit more some of the things that I'll be talking or will be talking about. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us, and I'll see you next week. And Christian and I both say good night and God bless, and we'll see you soon. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.